Welcome to the Goalie Mindset Podcast. My name is Pete Fry, the Goalie Mindset Guy, and my purpose is to help goalies have a dominating goalie career. Welcome, everyone. Pete Fry, the Goalie Mindset Guy. Welcome to the Goalie Mindset Podcast. Exciting to have on here today, special guest. Make sure I pronounce your last name. We've known each other so long, and I still mess up when I say the last name there. Steve Schut. Is that right? How I pronounce it, or is it Schut?
Just like that, a hockey player.
Schut. I can't believe I don't get that right still. Okay. Steve Schut.
It happens all the time because everybody thinks that it's more exotic than it is.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to work it out there. Yeah. And by the way, it's when I say Steve Schut, Steve, I'm not the number. What number was he? 20 something or whatever? That
22.
Played for Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, number 22.
Number 22. Yeah, there you go. What a great player.
Yeah, anyways, he was good. Just a little before my era, but
yeah. So same name, but no different. Steve here specializes in goaltenders. He's got Puck Warriors Goaltending, and he's done a lot of work with a lot of goalies in I'd say like the Whitby area. Would that be right?
Yeah, Durham Region, GTA.
Durham
from
Region,
Toronto
GTA.
all the way out to Peterborough.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Steve, welcome. Hey, great to have you on board.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Been looking forward to coming on for a long time.
Yeah. We'll have some fun. We'll just chit chat back and forth, talk about goalies, goalie coaches, parents, all that good stuff there. So I'm going to ask you a question. Let's start off the question about a parent. Let's go right into goalie parents. Okay.
All right.
And so the whole purpose of this, by the way, if you're listening and you are a goalie parent, is we're just going to go over some scenarios where maybe the goalie parent has acted in a way that is really good and kind of above and beyond, and it's been great for the goaltender. Then we'll go over some scenarios where maybe they haven't, and the only reason for that is just so you can learn from it, right? Because that's how we get better quicker, is we learn from other people, right? Because what happens if every goalie parent just starts off and it's their son or daughter is 8 years old, 9 years old, and they don't have any support around them, of course they're going to do some of the wrong things, right? Say some of the wrong things and stuff like that. So it doesn't mean they're bad people. They just don't know. So let's talk goalie parents. So Steve, here's a question for you. Without naming any names, well, I guess you could. Who's your favorite goalie parent and why? So something like that, you can actually name names. Because it's positive.
I don't know if I will, but I think the best goalie parents are the ones who are, like you said, extremely supportive of their kid.
Yep.
They're looking for the best ways to help them improve. So whether that's doing extra training, doing goalie mindset stuff with yourself, getting them signed up in a gym, or doing some off ice stuff. I think those parents are the ones who are the best, because they're supportive of their child. They're supporting their love for the position and the sport. The other thing and I was a goalie parent too. My son played. My dad's obviously was a goalie parent because I played. And the experience that I had with him probably set me up for how I treated my kid when he played. I would finish my game. My dad would pull up to the front door and I'd get in the van and he'd go, "So how do you think you played?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I thought I could have done better." He goes, "Well, I thought you did all right." And that was the end of our conversation. Didn't grill me on, what I could have done better, or what I should have done in this situation. Didn't grill me on the way to the rink on, what the team that we're playing against is like and what to watch out for. Because kids know all this stuff already. They're paying attention to the teams that they're playing against, and their friend plays on this team and their friend plays on that team. And so they know all this information already. And if we're bombarding them with stuff that they need to do, we're taking away their love of the game and their ability to play. So for me, I think the best parents are ones that are like that. They support their kid. They, want them to have fun, and they're supportive of all the extracurricular stuff that comes with, playing goal. And just
Mm-hmm.
not being that harping parent that's constantly on them, because I've seen so many kids lose their love for the sport and for the position because there's that intense pressure from them.
Well, I think you said it all right there when you said the love for the sport, because that really is the number one driver for the kids when they're playing, is that love for the sport. And, sometimes, yeah, I agree with exactly what you're saying there. Sometimes, parents just got to focus on how do I build the love of the sport for my goaltender. And really, what is that? That's just keeping it fun. Like, yeah, you
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying there. How do you think you did? Oh, great. Okay, perfect. Having fun, high five, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And
Yeah. And it keeps you going, right? And it's um, not constantly harping on the things that they need to do, because it's the fastest way to get them to lose love for the sport. And then they just don't want to play anymore. Like, I find
Mhm.
guys that are playing professionally still love playing hockey. And I'm sure that everyone's situation is different. Every goaltender situation is different, and not everybody's going to make it to the NHL through the NHL draft, or the PWHL in this case, and through the PWHL draft. Maybe they make it as a free agent, or maybe they don't make it at all. But to
Mhm.
push your kid onto something that they don't necessarily want to do, or have a love for, is detrimental to them. So, and it's tough to recognize as a parent, because you want everything for your kid. You want the best for your kid, but maybe it's not what they want.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, 100%. I love that. It's such an important thing. And I've seen oh God, I've seen some texts from some parents to some of my clients sometimes, right? And just like, whoa, it's crazy. They go overboard and stuff. And
Yeah.
I think it's important to be a parent first, right? Be a parent first, coach second. Um, supporter, big supporter. It was it. Uh, Carey Price's dad, Jerry, said, he would just he was the taxi for Carey,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? I think air taxi and land taxi too, because he used to fly him to places.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I heard those stories.
yeah, yeah, and he'd be like, if he didn't play well, he wouldn't even bring it up. Sometimes he would just say, hey,
Right.
if he feels bad enough himself, if
Yeah.
he wants to talk about it, we can talk about it, but I'll let him bring it up. So I like that. I thought that was good. That was good.
Yeah, and that's a great way to do it, right? Because maybe they need time to process the game that they just had, or they need time to process a couple goals that got by them, and they don't need to talk about it right now. We can do it later. Because, as a goalie, we kind of want to forget it and move on. I don't want to be
Mm,
dredging up old, you know, games that I don't need to think about anymore. I mean, I learned something from it, and I take it
yeah.
with me, and I move on to the next one. But I don't want to harp on that game from 2 weeks ago, because, like we've talked about with your mindset stuff, you putting all that negative talk in your head, and it stays there.
It does. It's like the simplest analogy is like the whole 23% rule of basketball players. For a month they don't touch a basketball, but all they see in their head is getting a basket in, and then they visualize it every day, and then at the end of 30 days they get retested, and they're up 23% better, because that's all they could see was saves. That's what they, and the
Right.
mind, we walk into the picture we hold of ourselves, and every word that's said forms a picture in our head. So yeah, I love it. That's bang on what you're saying there, right?
Mhm.
um and then how about a can you think of a really negative example of a parent?
Oh
There's
man,
got to be. I got a few. I won't
there's,
name names.
there's it's funny because there's quite a few, and they're all very similar.
Yeah.
They seem to all do the same type of things. I've seen
Yeah.
parents walk out of practice because they're frustrated with their kids' level of effort at practice, which I
Mm-hmm.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
But to make it visual for them, you know, really,
Doesn't help.
really hits. Yeah, it doesn't help at all. Um, there's some that like to constantly be behind the net watching their kid, and they're trying to use hand gestures to direct them on the ice, and it's not necessarily helpful because
No.
the goalie's the only one out there, right? And they're learning on their own to try to figure out their game. They can't go to the bench, talk to the coach unless there's a goalie coach there in between periods, somebody they can talk to. And they really can't be distracted looking at parents or anybody else through the glass and trying to get information
Mhm.
from them because they can't hear you. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily helpful. And as much as parents, we think that we're helping them by giving them these clues, hints, whatever, it it doesn't help them. It's more distracting than anything.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
and then again, the harping on stuff after games and telling them how it should be and what you should be doing. They get it from their coach, they get it from their goalie coach, they probably get it from teammates at times, and then they get it from their parents too. And that's supposed to be the one place that they can go that they're not getting that stuff and they have somebody who's supporting them, right? And
Mhm.
when you don't have that, you don't feel like there's anywhere that you can turn to talk to anybody. So
Yeah.
those are probably examples of the tough ones.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I got a couple examples here. One is, oh, this is way back when I had a training center in Victoria, and I had this one goalie come in, and he's a great kid, right? Just all smiles. He's like 13, 14. I'll just say his name was Nick, but that was his name. But I won't say any
Hmm.
parents' names and stuff like that. And the way that it was set up was it was like a bowling alley, so to speak. Like you could look down it as a spectator, and so
Right.
the dad would stand outside the window, like where the glass is, and he would literally bang on the glass sometimes. I'm like, I'm right here, like I'm like a foot away from you, you're just behind me. Anyways, and sometimes he would open the door and come in, and so and here's where he got it really wrong. And parents like to joke around with their kids sometimes, yet we got to be
Mhm.
careful because the subconscious mind does not know the difference. So,
Right.
so for example, this goaltender would, do something unbelievable, like make this great save when we're working together. And his dad pops in and he goes, "That's not the real you. What happened? Where's Nick?" Right after the kid did something spectacular.
Right.
So, and the dad was just joking with him, but the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference.
Right. After he did something good, not doing
After he did something
something.
great, yeah, the dad would pop in and say, "Hey, where's the real Nick? That wasn't you." Right. And
Yeah.
then vice versa. Vice versa. If you did something bad, I'm like, "Oh, there you are. You're back."
Oh,
Like
that's deflating.
that's setting someone up for total failure because it's going to
Yeah,
be images in their
absolutely.
head created by the parent, and they it's hard to get away from that, right?
Yeah, it is for sure. Like I said, you don't have anywhere else to go because your parent's
Yeah.
supposed to be the one that you can go to with your issues. But when they're the ones who are creating the issues, where do you go?
Hmm.
It's kind of
Yeah.
hard.
So if a parent uses that, so a parent can use that technique, but to their advantage, right? So
Mhm.
they can. There's a great. You ever read the 1 Minute Manager, Ken Blanchard?
I have not.
That old book. I'll see if I can find one for you. It's like a quick read. You're probably like me.
Okay.
You like to read the small books,
I have to read the small ones because I
like
start
the
reading
small
and I'll fall
books.
asleep.
I know. Books that are too thick, I find it challenging to read there. And it was all about reward the behavior you want repeated, right? With the 1 Minute
Right.
Manager. And so I think with parents, if their kid has a spectacular game and is leaving the game, right, walking out, meeting seeing their parents, one great thing they could say is, "Wow, that was a real you in there today." Right?
Right.
The goalie that was spectacular. That was a really you. So if they can switch that stuff around, just little things like that, they go a long way. They go a
Mhm.
long way, and people don't understand that sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I try to implement that with coaching because I had that experience when I played. I didn't have a goalie coach for the longest time because, in the 80s and 90s, it wasn't a thing.
How old were
So
you, Stevie, when you started playing? How old were you when you started playing?
I I was 5 when I started playing.
Wow.
So that
Okay.
was 43 years ago.
No, I
You can
love
do
it.
that. Um, but we didn't have goalie coaches really. It was just a coach shooting on you, telling you to stand up and don't drop to the ice and all the other stuff. So when I finally had a goalie coach, that's what he was like. He got so excited every time you did something that he was trying to teach you. So it made you
Yeah.
want to do it again because you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I want to hear that positive reinforcement again. So I try to replicate the same thing with our goalies that we teach. And when they're doing something right, let them know that they've done a good job. This is what I want to see.
Yep.
Right. And
Yep.
try not to harp on the negative stuff, but
Mhm.
it's not necessarily negative. It's just that we're trying to correct it and we're trying
Yeah.
to, change this process and let's try to, we want to do it properly. So we try to just give them the information that we want to see, not the stuff we don't want to see, because then it gets stuck in your head and that's what you do. Right. Like when
Yes. You
second
got it.
intermission, second intermission, coach comes to you, you're riding a shutout and he goes, don't let the next one in. And you're like, oh, that's all you're thinking about now. As
I
soon as you
know.
get back in net, start the third, all I can see are pucks going in the net because that's the last thing I heard. Right. Instead of keep it up or something a little more positive, right? Or save driven versus,
Mhm.
and I can distinctly remember seeing it like at St. Mike's and I guys come down the wing and all I can see is them ripping a shot high short side because that's the last thing I heard, you know, that
No.
didn't happen, but that's what you're visualizing. So
Hmm. I know.
it's such a powerful tool.
And so if parents can learn to, when they're speaking to the goaltender or their goaltender can hear them, is always keep it positive, realizing that the rule that, you walk into the picture you hold of yourself, right?
Mm,
So every word that's said forms a picture in the head. We got to keep it positive because really at the end of the day, we want their head filled with saves. So that's all
right.
that's in there, right? So the more we can talk about that stuff, the better, right? The more we talk about saves and saves and saves and saves. And of course there's gonna be some learning points sometimes to go through, whether the parent goes through it or the coach is going through it with them, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
sure some coaches might miss some stuff there. But yeah,
It's my
walking the
job
picture
to,
hole of yourself. Yes, there you
yeah,
go.
it's
There you
my
go.
job to bring the bad news.
Yes, yeah. So it's really neat because you've experienced some of this like from a goaltender's level. Like you've gotten through it. You can use your own experiences.
Yeah, exactly. Positive or negative. Like I take this
Hmm.
anything that have encountered or experienced over the umpteen years of playing and coaching and then apply it now. And I mean, everyone builds off their experience, right? Like you take everything from your experience. And if you have negative experience, then um, hopefully you can find a positive and turn it around. But that's
Hmm.
huge, like being able to take that experience and pass it on to another generation of goaltenders and parents and coaches is huge.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Another thing that I think they can do is my dad used to do this, and I don't know if it was intentional or not or whatever. If he would just, but you ever heard the saying, "A compliment passed on is more powerful than a compliment direct"?
I haven't heard that, but it sounds good.
Yeah, well, and I'll show you how it works. It's kind of like it's the opposite of a negative. A negative passed on is more negatively powerful than a negative direct. So, for example, um, if if you hear something about yourself from a person, right, and they're like, well, uh, Steve, something like that, and it's not that positive, right? But if you hear it directly from the person, it's no big deal. But if you have a messenger saying, hey, I was talking to Bob and he said this about you, you're like, that Bob, what a jerk, right? um, so, but the same works in a positive way for compliments. And so my dad would basically sometimes after a game, he'd say, I was talking to so-and-so parent or whatever, and they were so impressed with your second period, you kept us in the game or stuff like that, right? So it was really cool because it wasn't coming from my dad. It was coming from someone
Right.
else in the stands, and he would basically
Right.
hear it and pass it on, which I think is a great skill to have, to pass on those compliments.
Yeah, that sounds really good and it would work. Like I see what you mean. Like it's getting that secondhand information is important, right? And
Mm,
it kind of reminds me of when parents coach their kids, right? And the entire team is listening to you, and your kid's like, that's just my dad. He doesn't know what he's talking about, right? But then that same kid could go to a different coach and have that coach tell him the exact same thing,
yeah.
and he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I do need to do that, but they just don't listen to their parents. So having that
Mm,
information come from someone else is a really good idea.
yeah.
Should probably try that sometime.
Yeah. It works well. It works well. You can they implement that with the team and stuff like that. Yeah, it works really well. And then what happens is people are going around, they're listening for the positive. They're listening, they're trying to catch someone saying something positive so they can pass it on.
Yeah,
Build
well, that's a
trust.
great idea.
Yeah, because we are energy. We are energy. And everyone has their own personal vibration. And so we want to do things or say things that's going to up their vibration, as opposed to a lot of times, without even knowing it, parents or coaches may say stuff that's going to lower their vibration. Right? So the more that we can work with that. And so tell me, what is your biggest memory as a goaltender? What's your biggest memory?
Wow, there's a lot. um,
How does a goalie coach, just as a goaltender? It's like a certain championship, or could be anything.
wow, that's there's so many different experiences that you have over the course of your career that
Mm-hmm.
you think are really big, and then a year later you have another one that's even bigger. And
Yeah.
I mean, winning provincial championship was huge. um there's lots of city championships, different tournaments.
Especially in Ontario.
um yeah.
Like that's a
Well, I
that's a
won.
huge province.
It's a snowy one right now.
It is.
um
Oh yeah.
there's so the Lake Placid tournament
Yep.
in the Can-Am Lake Placid tournament. So we did that as kids. I think we're probably 10 or 11.
Okay.
And we had the skills competition, right, that they do on a Saturday night, and I was
Yep.
selected to go for our team. And I think they only really used the goalies for the shootout.
Okay.
And when the player comes in and shoots, if the player scores, they advance, and the goalie's eliminated. I think it's a long time ago, so it's kind of foggy. But the one thing I do remember is actually winning the shootout as a goalie because nobody could score. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it was the first time, but I mean, it was the first time for me winning a shootout against, in a tournament skills setting. So that was a big one, just a personal
Yeah.
achievement. Um, yeah, I think that was a big one for me. I think because it was personal, it was just an individual, it wasn't a team thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big one. But yeah, it's a good question. That's that's tough because there's a lot of things that are, being selected for all-star games and stuff like that. Those
Yeah.
are all great, but it's really hard to pinpoint one that probably stands out more than the rest. I think that shootout one is probably a big one.
Yeah. It sounds like it. It sounds like that must have been a great moment.
Yeah, I was on the big Olympic pad in Lake Placid, and so
That's awesome. That's awesome. And in Lake Placid, is that where they had the Olympics, where the 1980
yeah,
Miracle on Ice? That
yeah,
was it. So
it's a
there must have been like
game rink.
lots of memorabilia around the rink and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they're framed pictures everywhere, from that Olympics and from the team. And we were only 10 or 11, so we were more concerned with throwing snowballs at other teams outside. So we didn't
Mm-hmm.
really take in the um, take in the sights of the rink. But and I mean, you're always at that time, going to the States for a tournament was huge because they had the bubble hockey games and we didn't have them in Canada.
Oh, are you good at that?
Every time
Are you good
I
at bubble
was, yeah.
hockey? Okay.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to
I
go head
used
to head.
that defenseman with the super long stick.
Yeah. Could do a
I
nice
used to use him
backhand.
to my advantage all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. I was going to buy one of those,
I had
but
one for a while and we just got rid of it.
oh yeah,
Yeah. I don't know
I'm
why. I
taking
should
it.
have kept it.
They were fun as a kid. They were really fun.
Oh, that was my favorite game. That was my favorite game. I remember going to the arcade and just going to the arcade back in the day. Right? Isn't that crazy?
Dating
Before
yourself.
games and stuff were all on our phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable. And then what do you have a moment in minor hockey when you played that say wasn't so great and adversity maybe, and how would you overcome it?
I have two actually, because there were two instances where we got blown out, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really play on a. I never really played on a team that was struggling. Like most of the teams that I played on were really good, so we were either in contention for playoffs, in contention for championships, or we were in first place. So I think I had two games one season where we lost like 8-0 or something like that. So it was just the adversity of coming back after that, such a loss, because it wasn't something that happened
No,
ever, really.
no.
So when it did happen, it was shocking. And it was rare that, you get the hook, right? You have to stay in for all 8 goals. But I think just the adversity of coming back from that was probably the toughest part. I mean, losing big games is always tough, losing championship games and, tournament finals and stuff is always tough. But
Mm-hmm.
having to get back on track from those losses were always uh, it's not that they were tough, but I relished in the fact that I would have to get back on the horse after those games.
Yeah.
So, and
You're part of
usually,
your bounce back.
yeah. And I think those games were probably games where I didn't go through my routine before the game. It was like
Mm.
somebody was late, you're struggling to get to the rink,
Yep.
and you just have to get there and go. And you don't get to do your little warm up and stuff. And I think that could have been the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember. But I mean, I always did before I even met you and before we even talked about it, like I used to visualize before
That's
games. And it
huge.
was something that I just had to do. I didn't know why, but I knew I had to do it because it helped me prepare for the game.
Yeah.
So I'd come home from school and I would finish my homework, have something to eat, and then I would just sit in my bedroom in my dark room and grab an album that I liked and put it on, and I would just lay there and visualize the game in my head from start to finish. It would
That's
be
awesome.
drop the puck, and then it would be a 2-on-1 that I stopped, and a 2-on-0, and then a 2-on-2 in different game situations, killing penalties and stuff. Then it's time to go to the game, and you go off and listen to your music and stuff. But I had to do that visualization before I left, or else I didn't feel right. And I didn't know what it was at the time. But I mean, it helped being able to see yourself making the saves so that when you get in the game, you feel like you've done it already. I've already been here. There's a 2-on-1. I know what to look for. I know where he's going to pass. I know what's coming. And it just felt like it made everything easier.
Yeah, it does. It's huge. We walk into the pitch, we hold ourselves, right? Good for you. Good for you. So question, what music, what albums?
So I'm a metal guy. So I used to listen to
Well, Metallica? Or were they?
Metallica. I think Master of Puppets was one of them,
Oh,
but
okay.
I would listen to
Oh, that'll get
Slayer,
you hyped. That'll raise
Sepultura.
your hype.
Yeah, it was. But it's funny that I listen to metal and listen to stuff like that, but I can function and operate calmly.
Really?
It doesn't change. like it doesn't raise my hype level. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't put you through the roof. Like it just keeps me at like a 7 and I'm
Oh, it
good.
does. That's
But
awesome.
I don't know why it calms me down. Like other, I can listen to other music and it'll just, my hype level will just drop. But I can listen to
Mm-hmm.
that. It's pretty heavy. It's pretty fast. It's pretty aggressive. And I can still sit at a 7 and I'm fine. But if I go to
There's
10, I'm gonna have a terrible game.
got it. Wow. So there's Metallica, Master of Puppets. What was another one?
Slayer, Seasons in the Abyss.
Okay.
Yeah, Sepultura, Arise.
That's some
That was a
pretty
good
heavy
one.
metal.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy metal. And then when you were playing games, would this song replay in your head?
The beginning of the game,
Okay.
before the game started sometimes. But during the game, I was more dialed into what was happening with the puck.
Mm-hmm.
So I know like some kids do play by play in their head and whatever, but I didn't necessarily do a play by play, but I would
Yep.
too zeroed in on what was happening to, you know, let anything else distract, you
Good
know.
for
So you
you.
could scream stuff from the stands. I have no idea what,
Mm-hmm.
no
Mm-hmm.
idea what's going on.
So you were dialed. That's not like that was one of your biggest assets when you played.
Yeah, I think so. Usually you don't recognize it when you're doing it, right? You just know that
Mm-hmm.
you need to do this to be successful, or this is what I need to do to feel to feel good. But when you look back, yeah, I think being dialed in and just paying attention to who's on the ice was a
Mm-hmm.
big um was a big thing for me. Like being able to read what was happening way ahead
Yep.
of what was coming at you. You know, three guys break out of their zone, and I'm like, all right, I can see he's okay. He's going wide. He's hanging behind. All right, I know what they're doing. And then, just get zeroed in on what's happening. It's easy to
Yeah.
get, I think it's easy to get distracted in games, when you got people banging on the glass and you got people screaming in the stands and trying to get your attention, right? And calling your name. It's very distracting. But being able to shut that out is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you think about it, as a goalie, really, there's one or two main things that you need to focus on in a game, and that's it. It's just the puck and the play, really.
Mhm.
And as soon as the goalie's mind goes to something other than that, then their tracking drops, right? Their awareness drops. But it goes to other things. Like it can go to the time, right? Which they gotta I always say they need to eliminate that. The coaches, it can go to the stands. You're right. There's someone banging on the glass. What are my friends thinking? Right? What are my friends thinking? Right? I remember even playing
Yeah.
in the Western Hockey League when I was playing in Portland. We would come back and play Victoria, which is my hometown. And God, I was supposed to be focused on the puck and the play. And I had a bunch of my friends behind the net, right? Like they were sitting behind the net and stuff like that. And they love it. They would love it if I would chop guys. So that's what I would do. Uh, So stupid. Like just so stupid. Like, man. Anyways, if I could go back, I would slap myself a few times when I was playing. Um, but yeah, that was the focus as opposed to the puck and the play,
Mhm.
right? Man.
I
Anyways.
even wonder sometimes if younger kids get distracted by the ads on the boards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
can see them in training and we're going through a drill and I can see their eyes are supposed to come to the puck and their eyes go here,
To
here,
the advertisement.
here, and then down to the puck. And I'm like, what are you looking at? There's nothing over there. So I'm just wondering if things catch their eye, right? They see the blue
Mm-hmm.
line on the boards from the blue line, they see the ad right beside it. They're looking at a phone number for
Yep.
a lawyer's office on the boards. And I often wonder if they pick up that stuff, just get distracted by it, kind of like a squirrel, you know?
It could. Some guys do. Some guys will, right? Yep. It's or they have something just lurking in their head from before, like a thought, a negative thought, and they just let it they let it they don't understand how to control their conscious mind, right? So they just let that thought hang there, which is not healthy.
And that's tough as a kid, right? When you got a test the next day, You know, you got issues something going on at school, and you're trying to play this game, and
Mm-hmm.
just keep. I got to do this. I have to study for this test when I go home, and that's all you're thinking about during the game. You know, it's really hard to compartmentalize things. I
Yeah.
think um, I found it easier for me if it's something that I'm not interested in right now. I can park it way back there and not think about it for the duration of the game, maybe longer. Um, but compartmentalizing is a tough thing for some people to be able to do. But I think it's critical for goalies to have, so that we're able to just shut everything out and just focus on that one little puck for 60 minutes and then go back to your regular life afterwards. But
Yeah. Well, and if so, really, it's interesting that you say that because the skills that goalies want to get better at to dominate. Of course, they want to get better at the technical skills. Like that's forever, right? They're going to keep working on them forever, right? No matter what. But then some of it is not related to that. Like for example, visualization. Right? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, his biggest skill was not that he could build big muscles, or wasn't that he could act well, it wasn't that he could govern well and be a great communicator. He says his biggest skill was he could see things clearly in front of him. He could visualize crystal clear, right? So that's a big one, and just say same as concentration as well too. I think for these guys, right? Being able to
yeah,
dial it in on the right stuff and just keep it there, work on it, keep it there. But these are all things that they don't really teach that stuff in school,
no,
right? Like they're not going to teach concentration in school. But so what I tell the goaltenders, I go, if you're, I think school is very important for you, for your, not for the information that you're getting from it, right? Because a lot of the information is crap. You know what I mean? That we learn at school, like how much do we really use, right? If you think that, sorry.
yeah.
Um, but if you can go to class, and let's say it's the like, what was a class that you absolutely thought was so boring?
I'm gonna get flack for it, but probably religion.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you're in religion, and like this is super boring. That's a great time to hone it in and really dive into it and say, okay, I'm just gonna for this next 45 minutes, however long this class is, my mind is just gonna be everything religion. It's gonna
Mm,
be, even though I don't like it, that's what it's gonna be around, because what you're doing there is you're working on your concentration skills, right? So
yeah,
you can in school become a better goaltender by honing it down and working on being in the moment, right?
right.
And you get better results that way, no matter what.
No, exactly. For sure. Like it's being able to focus is critical. And I know most people, when they focus, can only focus for a short period of time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like a kid's attention span, I shouldn't just pick on kids, but I think people's attention spans have shortened um,
Oh, it's crazy.
years,
I'll
right?
be
Like,
yeah, and I'll watch like some Netflix with my wife at night
mhm,
sometimes, right? And while we're watching it, she'll have her laptop open. She's working on stuff, and then she'll fricking have her phone.
right.
And then she's asking me stuff about the show, and I'm like, stop asking me. I go, pay attention.
Yeah. Like, I mean, look at Instagram too, right? When you've got those little
Oh
clips
yeah.
on Instagram, they're like 12 seconds long.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even that is long for
Yeah,
people.
I
It's
know.
long for me sometimes because you're flipping through. I can, 3 seconds and it's gone, right? So attention spans are really shortened. So it takes a lot to try to focus on something for an extended period of time, let alone a hockey game for 60 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, in the grand scheme, it's not a big deal, but it's a long time when it comes
Yeah,
to
it's huge.
being able to focus and concentrate.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it does. And once again, that's a skill they're not going to teach us in school, right? They're not going to teach us
Right.
that. They're not going to teach us confidence. key stuff like that. So,
Our teachers just expected you to do it, and they had a meter stick they'd crack on the desk if you weren't paying
yeah,
attention. So
I
that
know.
was your
And
motivator.
it worked a lot of times.
It
Yeah.
did. It did.
The whole, yeah, I don't know if I ever had at school where they would slap our hand or anything like that. I don't think so. But
No, but they would hit inanimate objects and
yeah,
try to get your attention, right?
I had teachers that would throw stuff, right? They throw stuff at us, which I thought was kind of cool. I like that actually. It was different.
Never had that. Just had them break stuff over desks. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Never hit
Mm-hmm.
anybody, but you just,
No.
I don't want the desk cracking, so I'll focus.
Yep. 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 Who's a coach that you had when you played that was phenomenal, and why were they for goaltenders?
I think my pick is Mike James. He coached our Mississauga Blackhawks AAA team, and he's just a great coach. He was calm. He was intelligent. He knew how to teach us things while getting the most out of us. So
Mm-hmm.
getting
Mm-hmm.
everyone to work, um, even when you didn't want to. Like our, he never really yelled, right? He wasn't a yeller. The only
Mm-hmm.
time I think I ever saw him get upset was twice when we were being disrespectful at a tournament, and
Yep.
another time was when game was getting out of hand and guys were getting into fights and everybody was getting kicked out. I think he got upset by that because there was no control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he's never yelled. He was more of the disappointed parent type of coach.
Okay.
I remember like one game we won 3-0, and he didn't like the way that we played as a team. So he came in the room and he said, um, if it wasn't for your goalie, you guys would have lost. So I'll see you on Tuesday, and left. And we went, oh my God. And I felt bad as the goalie,
Mm-hmm.
because I did my job, but I still
Yeah.
felt bad for the team because as a
Mm-hmm.
team we didn't play well, and now we got to skate on Tuesday. Right. But he didn't yell at anybody, wasn't upset,
Yeah.
you know.
You just
We used to have 3-hour practices every other Friday, and our first hour was warm up, basically just horseshoe drill, 1-on-1s, 2-on-1s. And then our second hour was just conditioning, skating, push ups on the ice, like different cardio things. And then we're gassed after 2 hours. And then for the third hour, he would just throw a puck on the ice and go, you guys can scrimmage now. And then, of
really
course,
3 hours.
yeah. So for the third hour, you want the puck, right? You want to
Yeah.
play. Now you've
Yeah.
got an opportunity to just blow off steam and play a game. So everyone's going full out for that. So by the end of the season, nobody could skate with us. Like it
No,
was
you got to be in
impossible.
good condition. That's very smart.
Yeah. He
Very
was
smart.
he was a really good coach. He's still involved with the Mississauga Senators, I think.
Okay.
I think he's probably the coach that had the biggest impact uh, positively.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mike James. Mike James.
Correct.
Awesome. 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 So yeah, sounds like a great coach, like a great guy there. What else, Stevie? What else do you want to talk about, my friend?
Um,
You can talk about anything.
let's see. How do you feel about coaches not letting goaltenders know who's starting until they walk in the door of the
I think
arena?
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Agreed.
Like, because just like, is there a goalie that you think you would ask that would say, "Oh, I love it when I don't know if I'm going to play or not"?
No, I don't think so. I think everyone wants to know. And it's not for superficial reasons, it's because of our preparation, right? Like
I
I
know.
like to know the day before if
Yeah.
I'm starting, because I have a different way to prepare than I do if I'm not starting. And it's not that I'm not ready as a
No,
goalie. It's
yeah,
not that you're
exactly.
not
You're
ready.
more ready if you know that you're not starting. You are more ready if you go in than if you don't know when you get there.
Right. It's just a different level of preparation. If I'm starting the game, then I have a process. If I'm not starting the game, I still have a process. It's not the same, but I know that if I'm called on, I'm ready to go in.
Yeah.
And I think that, they just need to know ahead of time so you can prepare, because the players show up to the rink and they know they're playing. They don't know how long they're playing for or how long their shifts are going to be, but they all know they're getting on the ice. But as a goalie, if I don't know, like, what am I getting ready for exactly?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
just starting versus not starting, I think. Um, but even like NHL goalies know when they're playing sooner than
Yeah.
little kids, right? Because I remember um, I was talking to somebody who was involved with the Leafs while Curtis McElhinney was there, and he knew all the games he was starting from October to end of December, because he was playing all the back to backs while Anderson started the first
Mm-hmm.
game of the back to back.
Yep.
So he knew all the teams he was playing. He knew all the nights he was starting. He knew how to prepare for those teams and what video to watch and how to get ready. And I thought he was really successful that year as a backup goalie
Well, and that
because he
makes
knew.
such a big difference, right? Because you said it right there. Because those NHL guys, they have access to all the game footage, just like a Tom Brady in
Mhm.
the NFL, right? And one of the things that made Tom Brady so successful was his ability to watch video, pick up on plays other teams are doing and stuff, just like you're saying Curtis McElhinney was doing, right? And that is wouldn't that be great for a goaltender to know the games he's playing for the next 3 months,
Yeah.
next 4 months? Just hey, boom, here's who's going here. Um, then the coach would have to have a disclaimer. Use it in a positive way. Unless one of you suck, then you're going to get those games. You can't say that.
Yeah.
Uh, you, yeah. So yeah, I think that would be great. Yeah, here's what it looks like the next 3 months. Here's a schedule. Here's when you're playing. Here's when you're playing. Uh, to me, that takes it to a higher level.
Yeah.
Totally takes it to a higher level.
And invariably, we know something's going to happen. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
sick.
yeah.
Rotation's going to change. That's fine, but purposely waiting until they walk into the rink to tell them who's starting, I think is kind of crazy.
It's a power trip. A lot of times coaches will have power trips, right? And they don't, some coaches don't have the respect or understanding of the goaltenders.
Mhm.
And it can man, I see some programs out there that, there one program out there that I know of, I won't mention who it is or what it is or whatever, but they've gone through 20 goalies on their team this year.
This year.
This year. So far.
Wow.
So far, we're only in December. 20
Wow.
goalies. 20 goalies. Like, anyways, it's crazy. It's crazy.
That is
Because I know,
crazy.
because
And they're not
there's
all
like,
getting hurt. They're not getting kidnapped or something.
no, 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 no. They just treat them poorly when they're there, and then they almost make them want to leave. But I've had like 3 clients play there so far this year, I think.
Wow.
And I was like, "You're going to this team, okay?" Anyways, this is what it is. This is what it is.
Get your passport ready.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. What would be one thing if it was eliminated from the game? It would make it better for goaltenders.
Can I say the shootout?
Sorry,
Can I say the shootout?
you can say anything. Yeah, yeah. The
So if one
shootout.
thing is eliminated from the game would make it better, probably, yeah. In terms of the NHL, probably the shootout. Can
Hmm.
deal with overtime, but the shootout, I mean, it's like penalty kicks in soccer. right?
Yeah,
Like,
it is. It is. I agree.
and I mean, it's different, but it's a smaller net, obviously, and it's not that hard. But like to decide a game on a shootout it's tough for me. Like I could just leave it at overtime,
Mm-hmm.
and I think some leagues are trying the 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3 for minute intervals.
Okay.
Um, but I think the shootout for me. Or oh no, you know what should be gone is the trapezoid.
Yes, that's what came to my mind.
Yeah,
Like
I
that.
could take that
That
out.
like let the goalies roam.
Yeah,
Let them.
I don't know.
Like people want to watch. That's what people don't want to watch things that are restricted.
Yeah, did they put the trapezoid in because of Broder? Because he was so good?
I don't know why. I'm not
I can't
sure.
remember.
But to
I
me,
thought,
that's better. Like the better the goalies are with the puck, the better. Like who
yeah.
cares if the goalie carries? I think they should get rid of the rule where goalies carry the puck over center ice. Not that
Oh,
anyone's really going to do that, but why not get like
yeah.
if the goalie's going to be risky enough to carry the puck over center ice, let him do it. Like I'm just
Yeah.
thinking from the fans' perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like the fans would be like,
I mean,
"Whoa, what the hell's he
I mean,
doing?"
who were the? I think Patrick did it, didn't he?
He got a
Or he got
penalty.
close. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he got a penalty. I'm pretty sure he got a penalty for it. Yeah, but it was pretty awesome what he did.
yeah. He went right up to center and.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm surprised that goalies don't handle the puck more in 3-on-3, like NHL overtime.
Yeah, because there's more space, right? I'm sure you've probably got more time.
Well, you could
I
get
don't
the
know why they
puck, you
wouldn't.
could skate up ice a little bit, buy some time for your team.
Hmm. Well, I mean, it was Mike Smith, right?
Mm-hmm.
That pass to McDavid when he scored in overtime.
Yep.
That one game. That was good. That was a good pass. Mike Smith is an incredible puck handler.
Yes. Have you seen Carter George this year?
I haven't.
One game after the first, there was like two games in a row. The first game, he makes a spectacular save. Like I'm talking spectacular save. And then as soon as he makes a save, instead of standing there waiting for a whistle, puts the puck down, fires it high and hard, sends a guy on his team in on breakaway. It was
Wow.
it was like a highlight reel highlight. And then the next day, same thing, but he scored.
Yeah, I was gonna say he scored this year, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really good with the puck. Makes such a difference. Right?
Oh, for sure. Puck handling makes a massive difference.
Mm-hmm.
Adding a goalie as a third defenseman and a sixth player on the ice that can actually make a play. And
Yep.
I've seen so many kids just be deterred from handling the puck because their coach is too afraid that they're going to make a mistake and get scored on. And I'm like, so you're not playing for the Stanley Cup. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Everybody makes mistakes. The D pass pucks up the middle and give pucks away, in your own zone. Players turn over pucks below the hash marks and you get scored on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what difference does it make if it's your goalie that does it or if it's a player?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
the only way you can build confidence is to actually do it, right? So
Yeah.
if you deter them from doing it, they're never going to build confidence. And when you do need them to go play the puck, they won't because they're
Mm-hmm.
not confident that they can handle it.
Yep. Yep. I
So,
see that so many times. So many times that the coach is like, just leave it. Just leave it.
yeah.
Just you're not a defenseman. Like things like that, whereas they're not going to get better. Whereas you look at Ron Hextall, right? One of the best puck handlers of all time. He would make a ton of mistakes when he was
Yeah.
young. Right. I saw him, I remember playing against him and the puck is bouncing and he freaking goes to bat it just like he's, in game 7 of the World Series and misses and falls down.
Yeah.
Right. So he goes to bat the puck, missed it because he took a golf swing, it threw him off balance and he fell down. But he was
I
freaking
think I remember that
phenomenal.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's but he was
But
good. He
even
was
look at
good.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
fantastic. Like, look at Marc-Andre Fleury. How many times has he coughed up a puck and it ended up in his net? And not just in a game, like in an important game.
Well,
And he
what
goes,
about, did you
oh,
see, oh, did you see 2 weeks ago when he didn't make the save on the dump in?
no,
You didn't see
I didn't
that?
see that. No,
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it
I saw
was
Charlie Lindgren backhanded into his own net.
yeah, I saw that. Yep, I saw this
That
one.
was unfortunate.
This one, the puck was coming in and it was like between his legs and he just went to play with his stick and it just
Yeah.
bounced a different way and he missed it and
Oh,
went in. But even it was
those
just so neat to see the way that he handled it,
are
right? Like I don't think he really didn't phase him at all.
no. And that's
But
hard, man. Like
mhm,
that to not let it phase you is really
yeah.
difficult. But he's such an easygoing guy. You know, like he's reminds me of Brodeur in that the looser they are, the better they play. The more fun they have, the better they are. And I remember this was years ago. Esso put out this 6 DVD set of hockey videos, and one of them was called Behind the Mask. And they
Oh,
did
with Andy Moog?
um I think he might have been in it, but it was like a
Okay.
whole compilation of different goalies. And one of the features was they showed the difference in preparation between Martin Brodeur and Mike Richter before a game. So they're playing each other, and Richter is just dialed in,
Yeah.
doesn't want to talk to anybody, doesn't want to do any interviews, just focused on the game. Don't talk to me, leave me alone, kind of like I would do. And then Brodeur's having an interview with Larry Brooks, meeting people downstairs before he goes in to get ready, joking with the guys, having fun. And
Yep. Yep.
it's so diametrically opposite of each other, right? But they still get the same result. It just shows how different they are in terms of their preparation. And I find like Fleury's the same as Brodeur's easygoing
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
But to have stuff not phase you is really difficult. Like it reminds you of like Carey Price when he's just stone faced all the time. You can't
Yeah.
tell if he made a good save or let in a goal because he's got the same expression on his face, right? He doesn't let anybody rattle
Get
him,
shot.
doesn't
You
let
get
anybody
shot.
know what he's feeling, right?
Yep. What's done is done. What's done is done. And another key thing too, I think, is very important for all goalies is never judge. Like never judge if they don't make a save, right?
Mhm.
Because really, if the I think Eli Wilson says if it's a shot from the far end that we don't save or a 2-on-0 that we don't save, it's never counted for more than one, right? Because
It's
some
true.
guys will beat themselves up because like they'll say, I lost my confidence because I let an easy goal,
Mhm.
as opposed to, like I'm using the wrong language now. Right? So I should be saying because I didn't come up with a save on an easy one.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, I have to correct myself there sometimes. Old habits. Um, so
Don't worry, I did it too.
mhm, it's all good. It's all good. What about that? How's that with your goaltenders? Do you talk to them about language and what to say, what to not say? Because it's an ongoing discussion with goalies as far as after they practice they're going to go over saves they made, saves they didn't make, in the game the same thing. Almost it's ongoing forever, right? So they're always going to be discussing it with someone or going over it and stuff like that. And to me, the more that we can get them to use the proper language, so it's creating saves in their head as opposed to not non-saves, it's just
Mhm.
gonna make it easier on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's um, definitely something that we need to focus on more. Um, we try to just focus on language, things that we want to see. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I took that from Eli too, was that I just want to give them the information that I want to see. I don't want to fill their head with things I don't want them to do or I don't want to see, or just this is what I want to see. So I keep them focused on that one thing
Love it.
versus trying to think of all the things that they don't do correctly or they don't do properly. Just this is what we're aiming for. Let's just focus on this right now. So I
Yeah.
think we need to do a better job of changing language for certain things, like coming up with saves and, instead of not getting scored on or, letting a goal in, right? It's trying to put that positive language in front of them instead. Takes time, obviously, because it takes time to break any habit, but I
Mm-hmm.
find that if you want to break a habit, you can change it pretty quick.
Yeah.
It all depends as if you want to change it or not. And if you're comfortable getting up with the wrong foot every time, then you're just going to keep doing it, right? Or if you're
Mm-hmm.
comfortable turning your glove over to make a save instead of keeping your fingers up to catch it, then you're just going to keep doing it. But I think if the desire to make the changes there, I think anybody could break a habit
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I
relatively
agree.
easily.
I agree.
You have to want to do it.
So tell me about the Leafs. You're a huge Leafs fan.
Yeah.
Huge Leafs fan. What's happening with them this year? What are they going to do?
Because I never know which team's going to show up on any given night. Sometimes they they come out and they start on time and they just roll right through you and beat you 3-0. And then the next night, nothing hits the net. Nothing. They don't get any bounces going their way. And they end up, losing by a goal. Right. I think the effort
Mm-hmm.
levels there. I think Berube is going to get them on the right path. But I don't know. I think they definitely have the goaltending this year. I mean, the two of them are at the top of the league, right? And
Yeah.
save
They
percentage
play
and
well.
or expected save percentage. And I haven't figured out how to calculate all that stuff yet. It's
Oh, the
expected,
goals above expected or
save.
whatever it is, or
Yeah.
below expected. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
not
do the
sure either.
basic math.
Yeah.
just do the basic goals against.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I mean,
Exactly.
there's
But
always
yeah.
hope, right? But that's
Mhm.
us in Leafland. We hope every year. There's hope.
Well, they keep chipping away, though. They're going to get something, right? And they
Hopefully.
made some changes there, and um, the other guy they had, the other coach they had was good too, eh? Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah, Keefe was a good coach.
Yeah, he was really good, and he got picked up right away. And so
Oh,
he
there
earned
was
his
no doubt.
stripes. I remember when he was coaching the Marlies when Jeff Glass was playing there.
Yeah.
So he's earned his stripes. And Craig Berube, whoa, like I played against him in the Western Hockey League for 2 years.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I can remember chopping him so bad, like I speared him right in the
Yeah.
where, and he turned around and he looked at me, and he's a big guy, right? Scary. I was
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
16 at the time,
Oh my
and
God.
like 150 pounds, and he's 19 years old. Um, he turned around and he looked at me, and at that same time, the play happened to be breaking out of our end, so it was just him and I, right? So I was like, and we had tough defensemen at the time, but they weren't on the ice, like John Kordick, right? Craig Butts, like
Oh
a lot of
wow.
like really good guys. Pretty tough team. And yeah, I just remember going, I think I apologized to him. I was scared. He just
Yeah, as a
turned, he didn't say
16-year-old.
anything, but he just looked at me, right? He just looked at me like you're gonna get yourself killed or something like that, right? So
Yeah, probably. Because he was a tough guy too.
yeah, yeah. I got that on video too.
Oh, really?
Like that incident on video. Yep. Yep.
That
I'll
would be
send it
great
to you.
to see.
See if I can find it. And that was a year
That's hilarious.
that our, GMs will meddle with their goaltenders sometimes, right? That was a year
Mhm.
that the GM and a coach on a team made me hold my stick about 8 inches higher than the shoulders. You can actually see it in the video.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It was. I don't know why. They were trying to do some technical stuff with me, and it was like they should have just said, just let him play.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out. There wasn't a lot of goalie coaching back then, right? So they
Yeah,
just
no.
let him play.
Yeah, there wasn't. It was don't go down in your butterfly.
What
Just
what's the
stand your
what's
feet.
what's the dumbest thing a coach has ever done to you or for you, like, or made you do?
Probably stand up on low shots.
Okay,
This would have been back in the 80s,
that was
right?
a big thing then. Yeah.
Yeah. 8, 9 years old. And he's like, just stand up and make a stick save on those low ones. And I was like, what?
Turn the
It's
skate
a lot
around.
closer to the ice if I can drop. Like, it doesn't
Mhm.
make any sense because butterfly is just starting to come in, right?
Yeah.
And that was crazy. That was crazy. And so being from Toronto, we when we were little, he went to either Rick Hines or the Jim Park goalie
Oh
school.
yeah, Jim Park. I remember the
Sure, I'm
videos.
sure there were others, but I ended up going to Jim Park. My God, he had his bony puck machine on the blue line and probably drilling 100-mile-an-hour shots into the corners for you to make skate saves off
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
those old black micron goal skates. Oh my God, my feet would be bruised. Like I could barely walk out of the rink, just at one after the other. It was insane. And then if you kept getting your stick in the way, he would take it away. So
Really?
it was just your foot redirecting pucks to the corner. It was insane.
Let's see if
I
we can get as little as possible behind the puck. That's what the
right?
skate was. It was a little possible
Yeah,
behind the puck as
it was
opposed to grabbing a
crazy.
stick. Yeah, it
But yeah,
was.
every time I see that puck machine, I just flashbacks come, and I'm like, oh,
Well, it's
not
got to be a
interested
lot
in that.
different for a goalie now, right? Like, because the style and stuff like that is basically figured out. Like the equipment and all that stuff has gotten so good. Whereas when we were playing, there was still a lot of kind of ups and down. Like the whole
Yeah,
skate saves. Right? I remember doing skate saves, and yeah, they're not productive. I don't think. Right? I remember
no,
making some
it's
good
really hard
skates.
to recover. Sorry?
I remember making some good skate saves too, but they're
Oh yeah,
not productive.
they go straight up into the corner, but sometimes,
If someone
sometimes
tips it to the
miss.
middle,
Yeah, then what
right,
are you gonna do?
you're screwed, right? Whereas
Yeah,
if you're in the butterfly, you got a chance.
yeah, you can at least shut it down, right? But it's changed so much now. Everything's like you said, everything is kind of done. You recover on your back foot. You know, being able to T push across and stay square,
Yeah.
using your butterfly for low saves and or high saves. But it's a lot easier now. I think it's
And the
harder on
post
your
play,
body.
I
Yeah,
think it's easier or
I,
harder on the body now.
I think it's harder on the body now
The
than it
hips,
used to be.
the
Yeah,
hips, hips are taking the brunt of it.
yeah,
Right.
hips, knees. Whew.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
so I think it's tougher now physically because I mean, RVH, like your body isn't supposed to do that. I don't think
No,
it's
no.
effective. It's very effective, being able to stop plays coming out of the corner and,
Yeah.
wraparounds and stuff, but it's so hard on your hips and your knees. And when you're trying to do it properly, not everybody has the same length of leg, right? From your hip to your
Yeah.
knee and your knee to your ankle. So it looks different on the post. And if you're trying to do it the way somebody else does it, but you physically can't do it that way, all you're doing is hurting yourself. Right.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
that's tough. Recovery out of it is hard. Like I can do it. I was never taught it as a goalie because it didn't exist when we played, but so we've had to learn it and be able to teach it. And it's tough. It's tough, but it's effective now. But like I think that it's harder on your body now than it was before.
It is. It is. It is for sure. For sure. Because they're down, up, down, up, down, up, down. The hips going in those different directions and stuff like that. And there's a lot of hip replacement surgeries coming up nowadays, right?
Oh
Even
yeah.
guys in junior college that I know that have had it. And even who's a
Yeah.
Joe McGinley's son, who's not a goalie, he's a player, but he's just getting another hip surgery.
Oh
TG, or
wow.
right? He's
Oh, geez.
yeah, so he'll
That's
be out.
tough at his age. He's got to be what, 18, 19?
I think so. Yeah, good player. Good
That's hard.
player. Yeah, yeah.
I know tons of goalies that have had hip surgeries, and I don't even think they've hit 30 yet.
No,
So,
I know. That's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah.
It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. So what's next for you, my friend? What's next for you?
Well, we're finishing up our in-season training before our
Yeah.
Christmas break.
You want to tell
So we've
people
only
about
got
your business? Let's do
um
that.
yeah. So we run Puck Warriors Goaltending in the GTA and Durham region. Um Cater to goalies from beginners at 5, 6 years old all the way up to the OHL and beyond. So um we run in-season development clinics just to help goaltenders stay on top of things because it's
Yep.
pretty tough to learn new things during the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you learn all your new stuff in the summer and then just kind of maintenance during the season. So we have our 4 clinics on Sundays. So we have 2 development clinics for different age groups, and then we run a fundamentals clinic where it's just skating based basic safe selection and puck handling that we run for an hour. So you're just bouncing between different stations, but you're getting, the um,
Yep.
same stuff for that hour. And then we run a bunch of different semi-private clinics on Sundays and then throughout the week. So as of December 5th, actually, no, December 20th is our last day before the holidays, and then we'll kick it back up in January, and then getting ready for tryouts coming in the spring. And you know
Mm-hmm.
um, we've got our holiday camp coming up just after Christmas, but it's sold out, thankfully.
Okay.
So
Great. Congrats.
we'll thanks, we'll run those goalies for 3 days and try to cram as much in as possible and make sure everybody's ready after the work that turkey off after Christmas.
I know. I know. Yeah.
I'd have to work for like 6 months to work it off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then it's January till tryouts, and then spring and summer training starts again. So we'll have our high performance clinics. We have a camp announcement coming up too, but trying not to disclose a lot of information on it because it's a little different.
Okay.
But we'll have that coming up too and start the cycle all over again.
That's awesome. Well, you obviously love what you do. You do a great job at it, helping a lot of goaltenders.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, we do. We do. Looking forward to getting some of them back in the next couple days, coming back from university, and do some work with them before Christmas and get them ready for the second half of their season too.
Bingo. 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 Okay, that's awesome. Well, Pete Fry, the Goalie Mindset Guy. This has been the Goalie Mindset Podcast. Steve Schut, excellent guest on here. Puck Warriors Goaltending. If you're in the Whitby, Durham area, right? Go there. Puck Warriors Goaltending. Go see Steve, right? He'll get you set up there to stop even more pucks. And yeah, I'm gonna have you back on here real soon.
Yeah, anytime. It's a lot of fun.